In the olden days in the land of Aniukwu, wealth was not counted in coins, nor in the glitter of gold. No, your greatness was measured by the stretch of your farmland, and the number of cattle that grazed in your fields. In Aniukwu, when the cock crowed and men went to the farms, you could hear the sound of hoes striking the soil like the beating of drums. When evening came, herds of cows returned home in clouds of dust, filling the air with the smell of milk and sweat. A man's strength was known not by his words, but by the yams in his barn and the goats tied at his gate. It was in this land that a man named Okafor lived. Okafor was richer than 10 men put together. His farmland stretched beyond the eyes could see. His barns overflowed with yams. His cattle drank from rivers like kings. When he walked through the market, people cleared the way. But Okafor's heart was never satisfied. The elders often said, "He who eats with 10 fingers and never wipes his mouth will one day choke." But Okafor did not listen. Whenever a poor man's boundary stones shifted, Okafor claimed the land as his own. Whenever a widow begged for a handful of grain, he demanded her goat in return. He would sit in the marketplace, his belly full, laughing. Okafor, boasting, "Who is greater than I? Even the chiefs bow before me. Soon all Aniukwu will belong to me." The people feared him, but they did not love him. Mothers pulled their children close when he passed, whispering, "Beware of a man whose stomach is as wide as the river." One evening, when the sun dipped low and painted the sky red, a traveler came to Okafor's compound. His clothes were torn, his feet dusty, his eyes weary from a long journey. He bowed low at Okafor's gate and said, "Kind master, I have walked for many days with no food in my belly. Give me a little yam, just a piece, and I will bless your household." Okafor stared at him and laughed harshly. "Do you not know whose compound this is? My yams are not for wanderers. If you want food, go clear a farm. Begone before my dogs chase you away." The traveler sighed and turned away. But as he left, he whispered words only the wind could carry. Riches without kindness are emptiness. What Okafor did not know was that this traveler was no ordinary man. He was a spirit in disguise sent to test Okafor's heart. From that day, strange things began to happen. First, Okafor's cows grew restless. Their ribs showed, their eyes grew dull. They refused to eat. Then his barns of yam began to rot. The sweet smell of harvest turned into a stench. Rats invaded and mold spread. Servants who once worked his fields began to leave quietly at night. Some said they were tired of his harshness. Others feared a curse had fallen on the household. Okafor grew angry. "This is nothing. I will plant again. My wealth will return." Nothing can bring Okafor down, but no matter how many seeds he planted, nothing grew. The rains turned away from his fields, and the sun burned his soil to dust. One night, when Okafor sat alone in his empty barn, the traveler returned. This time his eyes shone like fire, and his staff glowed with light. "Okafor of Aniukwu, you were tested with a simple gift of kindness, but your heart was harder than stone. The land has rejected your greed. Your cattle will wander, your barns will remain empty, until you learn that wealth without compassion is poverty of the soul." Okafor fell to the ground trembling. Okafor weeping, "Spirit, have mercy on me. Give me back my wealth and I will change." But the spirit shook his head. "It is not in words but in deeds that men are measured. You will walk the land as poor as those you once mocked." Only when you have learned humility will your name be remembered with honor. The spirit vanished like mist. Okafor the beggar. From then on, Okafor's life turned upside down. He who once owned the largest herds now begged for milk. He who once filled barns with yams now stretched out his hands at the market for scraps. He who once laughed with pride now wept with hunger. Children pointed at him and whispered, "See, that is Okafor, the greedy farmer." His barns were full, but his heart was empty. One day, weak and tired, Okafor stumbled back to the village square. There, before the elders and the people, he fell to his knees. Okafor, crying, "Forgive me, Aniukwu. I thought wealth was in farmlands and cattle, but I see now that true wealth is in sharing. I fed only myself and left others to starve. My pride has destroyed me." The people watched in silence. Some pitied him, some turned away. That night Okafor lay beneath a tree, and as the moon rose the spirit appeared one last time. "Okafor, your story will not be forgotten. From today Aniukwu shall teach its children. A man with a kind heart is richer than a man with 10 barns of yam." And with that the spirit vanished, and Okafor was never seen again. The people of Aniukwu told his tale for generations. Around fires at night, mothers reminded their children, "Do not be like Okafor, who had everything but gave nothing. A hand that gives never lacks, but a hand that hoards will soon be empty." And so ends the story of Okafor, the greedy farmer of Aniukwu. True wealth is not measured in cattle or land, but in the kindness you show to others.